I'm going all out.
Okay, so where I'm going with this is, you know, you're F-Guard Scram, you're Aqua Noah Riley, you're considered, you know, do they accept the award, right? I'm not sure they can deny going to the finals, but you know, are they going to be comfortable? They're going to be in their elements, you know, at their speech in the finals, you know, when it's their moment, playing. If they don't get in right now, the big way.
I think in the case of Scram or F-Guard, they're going to have to settle with sneaking in through the back door, because you're right, they have the stature, the name value of one of those red carpet teams. But like Reese was saying in session one, historically, this duo's never won games, right? They're not game winners. And so I would be surprised if all of a sudden, you know, game 3 of session 2 of the semifinals in 2022, they decide, hey, let's win a game. You know what I mean? So I think it is going to have to come down to consistency. In the case of Noah Riley and Aqua, though, that's where you're really asking me a tough question. If they don't win a game, I cannot guarantee you they will be in the top 6 with consistency.
Looking pretty good right now overall. 4th place, 71 points. Or I guess 2nd officially, because our top 2 teams inside those finals. That being said, how Aqua and Noah Riley play, how teams get a little bit more freedom overall on how to move around the map. Some teams, though, aren't really allowed to play before that zone's even shown. Bubak getting a few elims back and forth, but Splash Jam said they're just too good at picking players apart.
Yeah, Bubak doing what he does best there with a high-firing weapon. You can see the disappointment in his eyes. I love the player cams, bro. I love the player cams, but you can see the pain in his eyes there, the disappointment. Oh, gosh.
You know why I love them so much? I never see him coming. And that one was big. That's wide Bubak right there. You know what I mean? That was just in my face. Enjoy it so much, though. It's tough. It's still tough. Not to, like, you know, laugh at that misery, but a few more games coming in. Bubak always aggressive as well when it comes to fighting, so that might be kind of the key to their success. Maybe getting these fights in early. Karma staying alive. Going for those pinches.
Yeah, and I'll give them props, man. I would have been way less composed, man. They wouldn't be able to show my camera in that situation. I'm flinging keyboards and mice everywhere, if that's me. So props to him for having the composure, the calmness. And you can't allow yourself to, right? You know, you still got a couple games left to play. You can't allow yourself to lose your head. Like I said at the start of the show, a lot of these players would have just been playing a solo cash cup. And if you've ever played a solo cash cup, you know it's very, very easy to lose your composure after playing that. So a lot of these guys would have had to reset and, you know, sort of keep themselves in a positive mental state, because, you know, these are huge games. You can't allow yourself to be triggered. That makes, you know, cause for easy mistakes, easy oversights.
It's nice to have like a teammate beside you the whole time as well, right? So
yeah,
that's what we're talking about. If it is patterns that we're looking at in terms of how games are won today, you know, it's been from teams that haven't really been to finals at all. This is their first time rolling through. So we're watching Clement and Floki. We're talking about Noah Riley, Aqua. Might have to start focusing on some of these teams that look good but haven't been to the finals before.
Exactly, right? You look at the teams who made it through yesterday. All of those teams were very, very experienced players who have played many, many finals, right? And so to see today, the teams who have the least experience being the ones to make it through, very, very different balance. And we're seeing that in the way the end games are reflected as well, right? Very different games, a bit scrappier, right? And so I don't expect much of that to change as we move forward. Kane and Cruel, who were so good last game, who just didn't quite manage to do it. Cruel went down and Kane was a solo, wasn't able to hold on. And you would have thought today would be easier for them at Covert without Thomas Tayson and Vino's duo there, but now a bunch of teams flocking their way in.
Yeah, and these Covert teams have been kind of the flavor of height. We talked about Kane and Cruel and how they kind of changed the game but couldn't hold on. Same thing for Pickle and Mel, right? These guys were the first ones to overtake Fast Rookie Kylie, have the difference made. I think it might have even been Pickle overall as a solo popping off towards that end game, starting the chain, starting the reaction. You see them all side by side. This is where the story starts. I do see a quiet voice here, though, inside this cavern. And Dreda, Flois, Levin, I'm on the map. Where are they? Well, what are these guys doing today? Because I don't see them. They're not here. They're not marked.
It's an example where, you know, you have two very big names in the region, but they just haven't been able to make it today. they haven't been able to make things work, and it's a shame because we saw them switch over to Cavern right at the end of yesterday when they realized that the big boys were well and away, but it still just hasn't been able to reap much benefit for them.
Yeah, when pressure matters most, I feel like that's where Flawless starts to show up the most. You know, when it came to trios, I think it might have been season 7, season 6, Kaiser with Flawless rocking in. They won one of the most important games to get them into at least qualification range, or overall to just boost them up the standings, right, and make them move over to the next stage. Maybe they're more so a game 5 team overall, but once again, stakes are very different here. We watch a normal Fortnite tournament. Everyone has different mentals overall, right? Yeah, we kind of want to win. We're playing kind of for consistency overall. Everyone here is trying to win the game.
And when you actually look at those two as players, right, they're two of the more measured and calm individuals. And in these games where things are so scrappy and chaotic, you know, you'd like to hope that they'd be able to be the calm in the storm and really sort of find some sort of a control in these environments. But, you know, again, they're just another team that's really struggling with that in these lobbies.
I mean, you want some Shio statistics? Like, they're not true at all. But it's just what I feel. I feel like right now, we have the most capitalization on mistakes situations. So cams for short, okay? They're the most cam situations going on. And I'm making that claim based off of what I saw from Floki and Clement, right? Left the wall open for just to air out the window, right? Someone was cooking some food, it was staking up the box, and it just wanted a little bit of fresh air. Andy right there in a fraction of a second, right? Kanan cool, half high ground, Fast-Roki Kylie, chilling. Fast-Roki asks Kylie, yo, did you leave the stove on? Did we lock the car? Boom, Pickles there. Fraction of a second, the cams are insane right now. Levin, right? In these situations, I mean, I have no stats to back this up. I'm just making claims once again. But it seems like the pressure's on Swirl. And Dread and Flawless, maybe they're overthinking. Maybe too much is going on. They can't handle the cams.
I'll be real, bro. I don't blame them in that situation. If my mom turned around and said to me, "Yo, did you leave the stove on?" I'm shook, man. I do.
And then Pickles right there next to your shoulder.
Yeah, you're right.
Boom, bop,
you're right.
You're done.
Tough situation. Cam.
I honestly don't even remember the term I even made what it stands for. So it's gonna be tough answering that question as the inventor of the term.
Okay.
Not my brightest moment, so. Yeah.
They average 4 cams per 90. Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Capitalize. Where's the A?
Where's the A?
Where is the A?
Dude, am I bad at math and English? That's crazy.
Look, it's alright. See how I'm keeping quiet every time you do math and English? I'm with you. I just shut up.
You're saying away so it doesn't leak into your system, man. It's smart. That's smart.
No.
It's troublesome. It's troublesome. Zigot Andy, I think this is the first time we're actually seeing them kind of in the lead consistently as well. That's cool. Very proud. Unfortunately, every time we do see Zigot and Andy at a point of the lead, you know, if it's height, if it's good looks, greener pastures, I see him crashing down. Not trying to jinx anything or call for a certain pattern, but they need to defy, you know, what they're set up to be to move onwards in this competition and go for the finals.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, but it's not going to be easy. You can see the below on surge. But like you said, things just haven't quite worked out in terms of their ability to win the games. They're staying very consistent. They're getting deep in, right? But we talk about being able to identify your win condition. Once you get to 8th zone, you start thinking, yo, how do we win this game? Right? Yeah, we're sitting comfy on mid-ground, we're sitting comfy on the height, we're sitting comfy low, but what's the actual pathway to winning this game?
You want to know?
Go on, hit me.
You have to basically throw all your strats in a blender, blend it up, and then just go with what comes first. I feel like everyone that has a plan so far is just absolute shambles. You look at things yesterday, right, Levin? It's all FNCS crazy finalists who've been there before, the goated names, they're moving through. You look at today, as we said before, it's brand new names. I feel like they're just adapting. They're just going crazy with it. They're rolling with the tide. Meanwhile, some of the old guard, they're not on surfboards, man, on this big wave. They're just trying to swim. They're trying to do things their own classic way. That's not the thing with day number 2.
You're right. You're spot on there. I think the big thing is, though, right, a lot of these teams, as they're blending all these strats into one, you got to leave some of the bits in there, right? You don't want it. You want to leave it a bit chunky, give yourself a bit more options. But some of these guys going a bit too ham on the blender. You know what I mean? It's all good and well having a smooth drink, but if you can't pick out what your strategy is going to be from that point, it'll get rough. I'll tell you that much. Look, another game where these guys are below on Surge mid-game, but not too far. They should be able to do enough damage, and I think the big positive for them is that they're looking good on materials in this one, and maybe this will be the chance they do get enough damage to get just above, but they got to be careful and wait for that to update.
Some visceral imagery with the chunkiness.
One above. Okay, tell you that.
Okay. Would you consider the chonker tires making a car more chunky?
Ooh, yes, but I like a bit of chunky. I feel like chunky has, the negative connotations, but
No, I'm just saying, like, from a statistical standpoint.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah. That's tough. This is kind of just gruesome for a lot of teams. Looking at the Storm Surge situations we talked about, so you got an in the lead. It just seems like a curse for them. No difference here right now. What a good attempt from Andy as well against Clement. That's crazy that they're in this situation, but now finally capitalizing. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to a different team beside them at a low cost. If there's any time you watch Floki and Clement operate, they have like a V48 engine. The gasoline is just getting chugged the whole time. Mats are being siphoned away. The shots are being siphoned away. And the fight lasts forever. I'm watching like an opera go down. I'm here to just watch a 1-hour action movie. You know what I mean? So like this time though, it was very fast, quick. Speedy YouTube video, the highlights of a movie, so to speak, or just one set piece. That was a nice timed fight.
Yeah, don't leave too soon though. You might miss the mid-credit scene because it's not done, right? They still got a bit more action in the tank. They got to make their way towards the zone. And this is what's happening elsewhere in the map. 70 below, briefing. There's not much you can do there, right? We talk about this season's meta. Obviously, the SMG is so strong. And so when you've got two players who know how to coordinate their sprays and just get in on you, it can be so suffocating. And Bevy's suffered that fate, so back to the drawing board, back to the lobby. Refscud and Scramdo still alive in this one, still trying to make up for last game's wrongs. Maybe this time if they're duo, they're able to win that low ground battle instead of falling second place.
You can see the difference in drive between both teams as well. Kylie and FastRoki electing, not to talk too much, be quiet, maybe a little bit more romantic as they go through these mountains. Meanwhile, Refsguard, Scram, not sure what argument they're having inside that taxi, but it's loud. Refsguard just shooting shots out the window in the bushes as well. Their vehicle takes like half its HP's worth of damage. I'm not sure if it's just like a flex thing, if they need to have the action as a part of them while they move, but man, these your cars, they're gonna suffer the fate.
They've been doing that all game.
Right? Top five, stay alive, but they want to win a game, right? Like, even with past that halfway mark, basically with 72. But winning would be huge. And at Rocky Reels, you can control height. You can have a little bit of strategy. You don't really have to worry about water whatsoever. So we are in the element, in the domain of Aqua and Noah Riley.
The big thing with Aqua and O'Reilly is the past two games, they've gone down in 9th place, right? 23 minutes and 14 seconds in, 23 minutes and 9 seconds in. right? So they're basically going down at the exact same points in both games. And the big thing is about whether there's some iteration now, whether there's a readjustment in their strategy, because, you know, fool me once, trying to, you know, toe the line a bit. I want something a bit more glamorous for them because they keep getting deep into these games, Shayo, and their kit looks good. Look, he's got a Spider-Man web shooter. Ooh, what's this rotate? Oh, I don't mind that. I like that. That's all right.
It's fascinating. Once again, that's like Clement making a split decision reaction. We saw Floki editing a box while Clement was looking at something else. But what I'm seeing here is a bunch of different pages, and right now it's not time to read a book. You want to be on just one newsletter, one flyer together. You want to be on the same page. And it feels like Clement and Floki game after game get spread apart a bit more. That was the story of Resguard and Scram yesterday as well. Sometimes Scram moving too fast, sometimes Resguard following up too slow. This time, it will be Resguard all the way up to the front by himself, but once again, Scram wasn't there. I feel like taking these risks, although you need to for the surge, it's the reason these teams are so kind of different in the way they end up moving as teammates, and then just, you know, end up getting split apart halfway.
Things get really interesting. Where's that zone going to pop? Who's going to get it? It goes towards the southeast. And so, a tough time for about half the lobby. You can see not many teams in the lobby are sitting in zone. A lot of them here with Resguard and Scram somewhere near it, but they've got a lot of teams in between them. And so they're going to have to elevate to get out of here realistically. But you can see they've got their eyes set on trying to pick off some of these teams. It's a real tough battle down below. And they have some edits, they have some control. I think here realizing, okay, we did what we could. Maybe it's time to get into the zone now.
Gonna be tough. So many teams on all sides. Only two that really own it, but they might be just overwhelmed with the amount of players coming in. Scram Resguard kind of looks like deja vu from the last game. Chili Chugs pop, but I don't think they're gonna be able to find a pad at this moment. Just have to run in, use a lot of materials as they do so. Floki, Clement, kind of the same situation, but they're already inside the zone. Aqua and Noah Rowley on the right side have, I feel like, started in it overall and just made a new entire base. Just staying very chill on the web shooters as well. Meld not making it towards this cut. There is no Storm Surge up right now, but the next one will start to turn, and a lot of players will have to fall before that 7th zone locks in.
Yeah, they got to start thinking about what their options are. If you're Scram and Resguard, right, you've not got the best of mobility in terms of not many Spider-Man web charges left. I think what they have is going to basically be committed completely to first movement, which means from there on out, you're going to have to use your materials, and they've not got an abundance, so they need to start thinking about setting up for a refresh at some point. And so we'll see how they do so. You can see now, most of the players situated within the zone. It's going to be about making that journey into the 6th zone. How do you get there? How much do you have to spend to get there? If you're Floki and Clement, you actually have a decent amount to spend. You can see Floki, 7 charges should be enough to get him all the way to the east. A lot of teams in between, but with this higher elevation that they're on, they'll be able to see everything in their way.
It's time to swing. How do you all about the top? On a max zone rotation. Meanwhile, everyone down below starts to set their web shooter